Yeah, I am a parent and I don't have any fucks left, so I just take the two laundry bags of laundry to the laundromat and shove them into the same large capacity washer, and I put it on extreme wash on warm, and that's close enough. And then I'll put it in the dryer for an hour, whatever whichever dryer is open that fits everything. I put it in there for an hour so I can go do groceries and then come back and grab my clothes and then go in. So
And
I probably look like a foot, but I don't care. I get
Nah, man, that's no, it's
multiple
fine.
things done at once.
That's only one step. That's only one step worse than what I do, and I have a washer and dryer in my basement. Like, and do not have children.
if you fuck up, then you'll just instead of being like, "Oh no, this shrank," you'll be like, "Oh, they must have grown."
Yep. Welcome to RPG Book Club LongCast, a podcast where we play a little bit of a long video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Maddie Grace, Alexandra Spiffle, falling asleep weapon.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
Okay, I'm not trying to cough Bernard. No, I don't have coronavirus, but
I don't know. I'm sorry. Maddie and I are friends. We make fun of each other.
No, it's fine. Well, I will say, actually, fun little. We're not doing like how's your week or anything, but
I mean, I do have the privilege of not living in a state that is all smoke. So
this isn't like a how is your week thing, but it is something that you and the viewers, I think, will find funny. I was doing some stuff outside yesterday. I was on a strike picket line and doing that all day and shit. And I was getting ready to go somewhere else to a different picket line, a different part of the city, and you know, it is like it's COVID time, so we're all wearing our masks, we're all social distancing, but like it's a little weird, right? Being like outside with a sign, yelling while also coronavirus is happening. But anyway, I didn't realize we were going to have lunch provided. I guess that our strike fund made enough money to cater some lunch, which was really nice. So they had these fucking burritos. And I was so hungry. I devoured that burrito, and I devoured it so fast that a little bit of it went down my windpipe. And it wasn't a big enough piece that I was like in danger of like choking to death and dying. And I was pretty aware of that. But like I could feel it, and it didn't feel good, and I didn't know what to do about it. So I'm sitting there like on my knees, like doing some big coughs, and everyone's giving me like a real big look, like, why is this bitch coughing? And I'm like, no, I don't have coronavirus. I'm just choking to death. It's fine.
It's totally different.
It's fine.
Oh my gosh.
It's fine. Don't get mad at me. I don't have coronavirus. I promise. Also, how do I get a bit of burritos out of my fucking windpipe? I don't know how to do this.
I would simply not inhale while eating the burrito.
I was so hungry.
I understand being hungry. So anyway, we're not talking about our weeks though.
No,
because this is LongCast, and we don't care how Bernard's week was.
Never do. Never have.
Ever.
Never will. But this week, what we will be talking about, besides Bernard's week, is the, what is this, fifth part of .hackgu Volume 2 Reminisce. And it's the good part of .hackgu Volume 2 Reminisce. And it yet again does not go to the spot where we said we were going to stop. It instead will stop after the big shit that goes down with Moontree, because there was a good cliffhanger there. So that's where we're stopping.
The game had an honest to goodness dungeon.
Yeah.
Yes. And, you know, we talked about how it's hard to set places to stop because of how none of us have played it, but also it's hard just, looking at a guide because this game's density is so variable. Like sometimes I cover 3 hours of gameplay by saying we do that. And sometimes I'm taking down every other line.
Yeah. Like
this week was a take down every other line week.
And also, it wasn't just a lot of information. It was just like permanent hauler mode too. Like it's good shit.
Yeah. And like week 2 of this game, we cut short because we played for like 7 hours before a named NPC talked to us, basically. And this week we did, like, plot beats wise, just 4 things, but those were dense fucking things. So
this week, the first cutscene, like the first line of dialogue in this game in this week was an email from a new named character we hadn't heard of before.
Yep. As soon as I turned on the game, looked at my email, and it was a new character, I was like, gosh darn it.
Luckily, it ended up amounting to nothing, but
yeah, it's we'll get there. So let's listen to the music that we get to hear in that cool ass place we go to meet that named character. And then we'll talk about take it away, Bernard.
All right, so we get an email from someone who we, the player, don't know, named Philo, and it says, "You must be pretty shocked to get an email from me, seeing how I'm supposed to be dead. I have something I want to give you. I'll be waiting at Theta, bequeathed insatiable mysteries."
Yeah, I think Philo is a character from the anime.
I assume
figured,
so.
Yeah, maybe he died or something.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I'm thinking that this might be, because remember way back like 6 months ago now when we first started the first one, and I talked about the anime on the first episode, and I said how if you wanted to watch it right here, don't, because part of it spoils chapter 2. I don't know if this was about Philo or not, but it feels like maybe it might be. This might have been what that warning was telling me about. But I haven't watched Roots yet to know. But I've thought about it because it's on Hulu, so I might do that.
Ooh. How long is it? Do you know?
I think it's 24 episodes, but I don't know.
I was hoping for like 10. Anyway. So we go to that area and find what looks like the spectral form of this Philo person. He tells Saseo to open his heart's eye or something. I clicked through before I really processed it. And then he disappears. In his place, something called Adler's Key appears, and the UI informs us that after collecting a certain amount of Adler's Keys, you can unlock sealed lost weapons. Which unlock sealed lost weapons just sounds like an area name.
Yeah.
That's funny. Also, finally got it. Dot Hack Roots, starring LeVar Burton. Sam gets it.
Philo tells us there's 4 more Adler's Keys here. We find them easily. It says we unlocked the seal on the first phase. Then Philo tells us to read the email he just sent us. It says, "So you got a hold of Adler's Keys. It will be your guide to a temple that lies at the very end of this world. And Teseo, they will lead you to unlocking the power hidden inside you and your character. Here are the end words you will need. Theta Hidden Forbidden Sacrament. Come to the great temple of Carleon Mev."
Yeah, Yuri Lowenthal says Mave for that word.
I was trying to remember what he said for that, because I don't know what to say it's for it.
MEDB. So Mave, apparently. But I wonder if Yuri Lowenthal had a dialect coach on how to speak Norse, or if he's just like, yeah, there's no way I can pronounce that. I'm just going to say Maeve.
I find it hilarious that Haseo the character instantly knows how to say it. It would have been funny if he was like, Carleon, I'm going to go with Maeve. I mean, it would make sense. It's lore in a game where no one cares about the lore.
Yeah, that actually would be like a realistic thing in this game if like none of the characters knew how to say shit, because they're all just like teens, like who are like barely like semi-literate. So this game has all these references, and they're like, I don't know what this is.
Yes. So we go to the temple, and it looks really cool. And Philo's avatar says that if we're reading this message, he's already dead. He says he leaves the sacraments of the 8 phases of the world and all the weapons here to Haseo.
So, like...
Yes.
What the fuck? Like,
I don't
all
know.
of these things are obviously based on the 8 phases of Morgana or whatever. And it's at an area word, so it's not like, hey, let me trade you this secret item that I have. He's like, oh, we're going to a thing that's like in the game, and it's the UI that pops up that tells you about the Adler's keys. Like, who is GU on purpose from CyberConnect now or some shit? Like,
I don't fucking know.
It's this week doesn't stop from keep happening with the whole how the fuck is this an MMO and not just a JRPG right now, because
this week really makes absolutely no sense as an MMO.
I agree for most of it, although for this part I didn't really parse that. I was just like, the 8 phases of Morgana could be like, this could be partially something that's supposed to be part of the game, just not like 100%, right? Like I don't know, the fact that the games, this could be some weird end game lore, and like they didn't intentionally program that like Ida would be using these 8 things as Morgana factors, but like, you know, like there's 8 things and that's just like the lore or something, and then like, I don't know, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and it could also be that Yada or whoever just named you guys have 8 powers after shit in the lore because he's a big fucking dweeb.
I hate him.
Me too.
Oh, and how?
So Antares, who I don't hate, shows up and says that before he died, IRL Philo left Antares his character and a message. Antares tells Haseo to take the lost weapon behind Philo's character. The UI tells us the lost weapons are weapons that embody the lost power of Epitaph user characters. To gain these weapons, you will need to offer Adler's keys to break the seals and defeat the sealed beasts that protect the weapons. So we unlock the badass scythe behind Philo with the Adler's keys, and then we fight the sealed beast. And it was actually a pretty tough fight for me.
It was pretty hard because he was like a HP sponge. I don't think I was ever going to die. I just couldn't kill him because he was an HP sponge and also healed a lot. So I used the new Divine Beast Awakening thing that we have, that the one that like you have to time it in the middle, like fucking Cyclone at the arcade or whatever. And so I was using that one, which would get out like 1,300 damage. But if he had more than 1,300 damage, he would heal just like 4 times in a row and be right back up to him, and I couldn't get it. So it took me a long ass time.
Yeah, that's right. I'd forgotten about this boss until you mentioned that. But yeah, for me, I think I was hitting him faster than he was healing, and frankly, I wasn't being as smart as you were. I wasn't thinking about that, but I was just hitting him a lot, but I was like noticing it was going kind of slow and was going back up, and I was like, oh shit, I guess I gotta be aggressive. But once I got him like maybe halfway down or something, I noticed that what's it called again? You just said it.
It's Divine Awakening, I think.
Yeah.
Morale.
Once he was around halfway through, I just happened to notice my morale was up, and so I just immediately mashed the button without using any strategy or thinking at all. And it turns out it did enough damage to kill him the rest of the way. So I was like, cool, that takes care of that.
Yeah.
So we get the badass scythe, but my twin swords still do better DPS.
Yeah,
So I use that.
They really do have like, because like, sorry, brain completely farted there. So scythes having bigger area of effect came in real handy when you had like aggressive ass PCs here later, and twin swords I use for almost everything, and then the big ones I use for like shit that has a lot of HP that also hits hard, so that I can get out big burst damage because it has higher burst damage than the twin blades do. And I surprisingly think about that a lot when, like, last game I just, big sword, do big numbers, use big numbers and win.
So, fun fact about me, first of all, apparently I'm playing this game way different than y'all. I have not used the twin swords a single time this game. I was using the big
not even now that you can switch to them like all the time.
We can only
like when things are weak to them.
We can only equip two weapons at once, right?
No, you can equip a weapon of each type.
Yeah.
Oh, for some reason I can only equip two. Or maybe I just never looked into it. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, you do one of each type, and then if you set the skills to it, you'll swap to it.
Right. Oh man, god damn it. I guess that explains how some of the enemies aren't weak to the two that I actually use. Okay, well, whatever. But still, I use the big one and the scythe because I love the big one, and the scythe is useful sometimes. Although the DPS difference right now is like a bit too much for my liking. But the other funny thing is that I'm just now realizing that after this cutscene was over, I never equipped it. Which I used. There was a lot of fighting this week, and I did not equip that scythe at all. And I kept being like, man, I wish my scythe did more damage.
It's a really good scythe.
God it heals your HP and SP for every like combo finisher you have.
God damn it.
Yeah, it's just like 20 HP and 10 SP, but that's a lot. It adds up. You're spamming attacks all the time.
Well,
yes. So, speaking of blank bows, we have a himbo moment here when Antares says the best line in the game, and I know this is going to be in y'all's memorable moments, but I'm sniping it and putting it in its exact context. He says, "It seems you've shown your, quote, power, unquote, and provoked a, quote, sacrament, unquote, or something."
I screenshotted that shit.
The or something makes it the best line in the game.
It's like
Antares is great.
It's like when in the recent President COVID video where he's like, we love what's happening. It's great what's happening regarding himself, like getting quote unquote cured of it.
So Antares then says some bullshit like he does. He says that power isn't what moves people. It's your heart that wields the power. And I'm like, so I guess your heart can't move people either, since power doesn't move people.
I think it's more of a people kills people and not guns thing, which is also dumb.
Guns don't kill people, people kill people, but since people kill people, we shouldn't let them have guns. Anyway, we have a bunch of emails waiting for us, so we log out.
Literally 12 emails.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Most of them are short, though.
Yeah.
So one of the emails is Antares summarizing everything with lost weapons. He also clarifies that he was pretending to be Philo, which was actually in Philo's will, and that he's been looking after Aseo because Philo asked him to.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone emails Aseo congratulating him on becoming Holy Palace Emperor. Adelie says her IRL symptoms have been cured, and that she won't be able to attend the crowning ceremony because she has a job to do for Moontree.
That's not like her.
No, it's not. It's not like her to not be all over Haseo, but there is one person who she's more all over than Haseo.
Oh no.
So Haseo logs in to go to the crowning ceremony. But we see Atali and Sakaki in Moontree's headquarters. She asks him what the job is. Sakaki says it's a task necessary to realizing the ideals of Moontree. He tells Atali she must atone for her sin. Atali hears Ida, because if you'll remember, hearing Ida is like a thing she can do.
Mm-hmm.
She covers her ears and says they have to leave. Sakaki types /grab arms and pull them from ears and tells her to listen to the sound ringing for her. This is the room of penitence. He says she's going to confess everything, the arrogance, ostentation, and fear that lie beneath her mask. He tells her to show him the small, diminutive self that hides beneath her character.
They're erping.
Sakaki... What?
They're erping.
I don't know what that means.
Erotic roleplay.
Erotic roleplay.
They're doing horny on the MMO.
Oh. I didn't know people got horny on MMOs.
Yeah, it's weird.
People almost exclusively get horny.
It is like what every single person I know who plays FF14 does, except for me and Sam, I suppose, probably.
Yeah, I don't fuck with that.
Yeah, I don't like it. Anyway, yeah, that's what they're getting real horny. It's weird. They have a weird thing going on.
I cannot imagine people getting horny online. Anyway, time to take a big sip of water and create a Second Life account.
Yeah, I think Second Life opened the floodgates, and then people realized they could just do that with any game. And what are they going to do? Stop us? I'm now imagining. I wonder if people do ERP in Halo. They start a server, they start a custom game where it's 16 dudes hanging out in Blood Gulch, just
Erping
up in Blood Gulch for hours.
Oh, that sounds like a good time. So Sakaki waves his hand and Ida bubbles appear.
I'd like to have 16 dudes in my blood gulch.
Oh, God.
That doesn't even make sense.
That doesn't, but it's gross anyway. Anyway, this is a very serious scene.
It really
is.
He says many victims were born from her mistake. It's her fault that the Ida server was created, and virtuous players were sent to the darkness of a coma after being PK'd. It was Adeli's fault that Bordeaux drowned in power because she was infected in the Ida server. Alcade is her fault too. Haseo's grief is her fault. Adeli begs him to stop. Sakaki says everyone suffered because of her. Adeli whimpers, seeking any forgiveness. Sakaki says he will pardon her. No matter how much the world may hate her, he will always be the only one to need her. Therefore, she must obey his wishes. If she leaves him, she'll be plunged into solitude. He tells her to close her eyes and relax. The scene fades to black. Adeli screams.
Yeah,
Time for the crowning ceremony.
They got a weird thing going on.
Yeah, time to go get drunk with all of our friends and hope that nothing bad happens.
Yeah, that scene was rough. But now it's time for the crowning ceremony. So we're going to have a little bit of Pyrrhus III antics that goes in memorable moments, and everything will be fine for a second. So we go to the same place where the last ceremony was held, and it's pretty much the same thing as before. So we go and talk to everyone. They congratulate us, and Antares even gives us his member address. So I think we're going to be able to invite him to our party.
Nice.
Yeah.
Also, there's a voice character who I did not recognize named Taihaku. Did y'all recognize Taihaku?
No.
Might have been No, it couldn't have been one of the Moontree people, because Haseo later says he didn't see anyone from Moontree. Anyway, Taihaku says, we've now seen the difference in power between one who is trapped by desire and one who is supported by faith.
He is the guild master of Ecolo, the Champions Guild where Sirius and Alcade are from. We met him last thing.
Yeah,
I did not remember him.
Before,
I googled him.
I didn't know who it was. I was just like, I think I've seen him sometime in the last 30 hours of this video game.
Surely you can forgive me for not remembering.
Yeah, especially because the scene where you met him was that scene that you famously said, now let's meet 12 new named characters.
Yes, God. We met Alcade, who wasn't important until the next game. We met Sirius, who wasn't important until the next game. We met Taihaku, who still isn't important.
And the scene in which we met all those characters was, as a whole, not important.
Yes. So, Haseo goes to the gazebo to spend some time alone. He realizes he didn't see Ovan or any Moontree members here. He sees Adelie for a moment, but she disappears. Pai, Kun, and Kaede, who is Zelkova's assistant. And last episode, we mentioned Lord Kaede is what Adelie called her, and I was like, I don't remember who the fuck that is. But then I saw her, and I was like, oh, you're Zelkova's assistant. And I waited for them to say her name so I could take my notes.
Nice.
Say her name so I could take my notes. Yes. So anyway, those three run up and say Sakaki has betrayed Zelkova. Sakaki's followers have taken over Moontree headquarters. Zelkova was PK'd and is lost. Pai got a call from Yata saying there was a strong IDA signal from Moontree headquarters. Zelkova may become a lost one. Kaede asks for Haseo's help, and apparently Zelkova had instructed her to do so if anything happened. And Haseo goes along with it. Kaede says Adelie attacked Zelkova, but she looked hollow, like she was being controlled. Black orbs appeared and possessed Moontree members. Then they started attacking each other. The black orbs were around Adelie, too. She may have been possessed by Ida.
No.
Yeah, Adelie's character looked like if it wasn't a real person, it was just being controlled by someone else.
I wish I had the confidence of these people to write stuff not internally consistent like this.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Bernard,
kind of
imagine how
freeing.
Imagine how much more productive you would be, Bernard, if you just wrote shit that just sucked.
Seriously.
This doesn't actually suck, it owns. But like something that like sucked, like by your standards, this, like if you wrote this, I'd be like, Bernard, this is the worst thing you've ever written. Right. But think of how much more productive you would be. It honestly, and you'd probably have a great time, and I would probably have a great time reading it. And later we'd all be like, you know what? It's a good thing that you did that instead of what you were doing before, which was only making things that were really good.
Well, CyberConnect 2 is not burdened by, 1, making things internally consistent and logical, or 2, making the whole thing good. They're just like, we'll make a thing and see what happens. Parts of it will be good.
They are just having a good
parts
time.
of it won't.
And like the fact that they went out of their way in the news at the beginning to say that after the World Volume 1 went down, VR gaming was not allowed anymore. Because like if all of this was VR, it would make a lot more sense. But it's not. They went out of the way to remind us that these people are playing with a nunchuck and a keyboard. So whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So when Kaede says that Adelie might have been possessed by Ida, Haseo gets real worked up. He says he refuses to let anyone else become comatose. He won't lose anyone ever again. Haseo, Pai, and Kun make preparations in Makanu, then gather at the Chaos Gate. But they find they cannot warp to Moontree headquarters. Pai says Ida must have grown enough to select players to imprison in an area. Moontree HQ has been turned into a small-scale IDA server with specific players selected. Pai says the last IDA server was only to observe, but this one is to experiment. She says it's clear from recent events that IDA desires epitaphs, which, again, someone's saying something as though it's a revelation, even though we're like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's trying to get Adelie's epitaph again. Since Adelie hasn't opened her eyes as an epitaph user, she can't resist Ida. Pai asks about that thing Haseo got when they escaped the Ida server, the Ovan 01. She tells Haseo to give it to her and says Yata can use it to get them into Moontree HQ. She says she'll email us when it's ready.
So like, was this just an item in his like character inventory this whole time that he could just trade to her.
I guess.
Yep.
It just
He just didn't know what it was, so he hadn't done anything with it yet.
yeah.
He was like, Ovon? Huh. To be fair, and again, this is the part that is believable as an MMO, because, like, I don't know. When I play FF14, my inventory's got I don't know what the fuck's in there. Like, there's so
they
many
give you
items.
so much room
They give you
in FF14.
Well, also, they give you so much. Well, not if you're me and you fish constantly, but not every single quest. Like every single quest, the quest is like, "Hey, go tell this guy I said hi," and it's like, which of these 3 like incredible pieces of armor do you want? And I'm like, I don't know. And it's like, also you got 3 wingzams of whatchamahoo, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And then it goes in my inventory, and I never see it again. So, like, honestly, this is very believable for me. Especially for someone like Haseo, because he's just like, I just want to level up. And they're like, Haseo, you have an Ovon thing, right? And he's like, oh yeah. I think that is on, like, page 7 of my inventory.
So we see Pi approach Yatta and give him the Ovon 01. He says it's an ironic name for a key. He tells her to begin the analysis, and once they have made a copy of the key, evil laugh. Yatta emails Haseo instructing him to go to Theta Discerning Neighboring Vampire to gather data seeds from the Ida there. They'll need them to hack a sign that leads to Moontree HQ. We do that. Yatta emails us again saying that now that we have the data seeds, we can get through the backdoor sign for Moontree, which is located in Sifberg, which I believe is the place where we ran into Pierce the Third earlier.
Yes. Good catch.
And he says to bring Kuhn and Indrance for support. So we have to deal with Indrance. Haseo, Kuhn, and Indrance head to Sifberg and enter the sign. Then we see the mysterious figure in the pointy cloak talking to Yatta again. The figure expresses displeasure at the situation. Yatta says their agreement states that he is in control of everything related to Ida. He says they've gathered 6 epitaph users. The figure says Yatta's superiors are concerned about him, and that the only thing they desire is the consistent, stable operation of the world. Complete control.
Normal.
So are they the PR team for CC2?
I guess. They want something they ain't getting.
I like how it seems like the most ominous thing ever, and then you're like, wait, this is literally all a video game.
They want complete control of the video game they develop and maintain.
Yeah. They're just really, really, really disgruntled client services people.
So the figure says the results Yatta achieved are not enough. He has too many useless processes. It tells him to think about why they provide him with the Serpent of Lore and that they are expecting a timely resolution. Now, this is a genuine question. Do we know anything about what the Serpent of Lore is or does?
From
I had always heard it was just another name for Ravens at Home.
From
Like
literally just
Ravens
this,
at Home was just the cover for their hideout called the Serpent of Lore.
From literally just this conversation, I'm intuiting it's like a Cerebro type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is to say, it's something that lets him like look at people. It's like a Palantir or something.
Yeah, because we have at several times like there's a strong Ida signal, which is a thing that like people like the people guy in the chair would say on an NCIS episode or something, and so maybe it's the big serpent on his wall lets him NCIS for Ida in the world or something.
Yeah, some shit like that.
So the party arrives at Moontree headquarters. Indrance wonders what the strange feeling in his heart is. Nala appears and says that on an Ida server, emotions are increased exponentially. But if you hold your heart strongly against Ida, it cannot intrude. Sorry, I accidentally typed if you hold your hot strongly against Ida, it cannot intrude, and that confused me for a second. Haseo asks Nala what his deal is. Nala insists he's a normal player. He says Sakaki and Atli should be in the throne room and shows the party the way, which is a straight path that Haseo has been on before.
Yep.
Anyway, they go to the warp point that leads to the throne room, but it's not working. Ida got to it too. And this is every time they go to the Moontree headquarters warp to the throne room. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Sam, do you know the thing that we're constantly referencing every 5 seconds?
No.
Every time
I'm gonna have to send
something's
it
not
to you
working.
because we put our references literally any time either of us are talking about anything, and I'm realizing it's been so long. I need to send you the goddamn video so you'll know what the fuck we're talking about, and we can link it in the show notes.
It's
Yeah, I have
very
no idea.
funny.
I just thought you were referencing that we tried to warp to Moontree twice, and both times they weren't working back to get back. But apparently,
Yeah, and this is every time we try to warp.
Every
to
time we
Moontree.
try to warp.
It never works.
So Nala says there's a way to the throne room without warp points. So we have to go through Moontree HQ like it's an area. Except we have to fight parties of players in order to progress because their Ida amplified emotions are creating barriers or something.
Yeah, they were hard. Like, none of them were ever, like, about to kill me, but they, like, juggled me a lot, and it was annoying to get through.
Unlike the
Harder than monsters.
Unlike the PvE in this game, the NPC PvPs actually, I don't know how to use the square button.
The PvPing NPC PCs.
Yeah, but like really, it's like you've got a sword. Like you can just attack me as much as I attack you, and there's 3 of them, and they just totally gank you, and it's a lot.
Yeah,
the PKK NPC PC PK'd PKer NPC PC.
Fuck you.
yeah.
So,
which reminds me of a thing that I love to hate about this game is how like all in they go on the go in on the fact that MMO players only refer to things as acronyms, because so many times it's just like, oh yeah, they PK'd her. I'm like, yeah, you could just say killed her. It's actually
just say they owned her. Yeah, just say like why do you need to say player killed? Just say kill.
Yeah, you're on voice chat as we now know, because Adderley's voice chat was broken, so everyone else is using voice chat. You don't have to say PK while you're talking. That's harder to say than just say killed.
Also, I just realized,
but it's an MMO, so.
Also, I just realized, assuming they do use text sometimes. Remember how a bit ago we were talking about, like a few weeks ago, we were talking about how the characters will always like have like private conversations that can be overheard and how that's absurd, or how they'll say something quietly to themselves so that someone else hears. Do they have like, it's like in FF14, right? You can do like /chat, or you can do like /shout, or you can do like /whisper, right? This game must have like a /whisper parentheses, but not so quiet that no one can hear you, just quiet enough that maybe someone could overhear in parentheses.
/stage whisper.
Yeah, they have a /stage whisper. Or, yeah, private conversation, but some sound leaks out. Maybe it's like a floating point number you get to put, which is like how much someone listening in could possibly hear you.
This game is silly, and I gotta admit, I like it.
Maybe the game's text system automatically, in order to protect from spoilers or something, it automatically replaces special terms that are meant to be secret to certain players with it.
Anyway, the party encounters Matsu, who says we're late, even though an appointment was not set. And he's just saying we're late just for fun. He has decided to defend Sakaki, and he attacks us. After the fight, Matsu collapses, laughing. He bemoans his loss against Haseo. Haseo asks why he didn't use his broadsword. He doesn't really have an answer. Then he disappears. Indrit says it's possible Matsu is now... ... We go through more dungeon and eventually
I have an answer, Matsu. It's because you gave it to us. It's in my inventory. I only sold it after this fight because I found it in my inventory and I sold it to buy some potions.
Did you really?
That's why you didn't use it, because we have your goddamn flame sword. There was a big deal when you said I don't need this anymore, and you gave it to Haseo. Haseo, why are you rubbing it in his face that you stole his limited edition item?
Matsu, why don't you use your flame sword? Yeah, maybe Yuri Lowenthal just read it wrong because the voice director or the script super didn't give them the context.
That is something that Volume 1 Haseo would say.
Yeah.
So we go through more dungeon and eventually encounter Hiragi, who goes on and on about protecting Sakaki and doing anything for him, but he also tells Indrance to shut up, which is nice.
Yeah.
So Hiragi attacks. After the fight, Indrance gives Hiragi a lecture about how to love someone, because Indrance is an expert on doing that in a healthy manner. Hiragi tells Haseo where Sakaki is and asks him to stop Sakaki before disappearing. After some more dungeon, we're ambushed by a new face, Moontree's medical leader, Sofura. Nala explains that the medics were just a front for Moontree's ninjas, so does that mean, like, there's a healer/ninja class?
Yeah. Can you make your class look like it's a different class? Or
is this like Final Fantasy 14 where they've just leveled in cleric, but no one knows they also leveled in ninja?
Or like, is it a secret where like you're going and you're looking through your classes and you're like, Twin Blade, no. Adept Rogue, no. Broadsword, no. Do I want to be a healer? No, that sounds dumb. But if you actually pick it, you're a ninja.
Maybe when you pick healer, it says like if you look at once you get to like level 20, there's like some text that pops up and it's like, you will now unlock the ninja arts, but don't tell anyone that's not a healer, okay? It's a secret. Just like don't tell anybody, because otherwise it doesn't work.
Yes.
Or it's like in Final Fantasy 14, the archer, when it gets its job expansion, is Bard, which is kind of out of nowhere. It doesn't really make sense. I wonder if it's the same thing where it's like, okay, well, the Adept Rogue is going to job expansion and get a broadsword, and the cleric is going to be a ninja.
I mean, ninjas use poison. Medicine and poison are two sides of the same coin.
Sure.
So we fight them, and it's sort of hilarious how we had these two really dramatic scenes with Matsu and Hiragi, and then it's just like, here's someone new. We fight them. Okay.
And they're a ninja, because why not?
Yeah. Really feels like they just forgot to introduce a third character, but they really wanted to have 3 boss fights here.
Yep.
So after the fight, Nala says the throne room is just ahead, and here's where the game gets good. Haseo enters and finds himself in what appears to be a school hallway where everything is white. His party members aren't there. Shadowy human figures populate the hallway. Voices echo as Haseo walks down the hallway. They sound like the painful high school memories of a girl. Haseo finds himself in a strange white space with rows of school desks. In the center, a shadow of Atali sits at a desk. She talks about how she got different clothes and a piercing to be cool for her friends, but her parents got mad. Haseo asks what this is. Sakaki says it's Atali's memories. He and the real Atali stand on a platform floating above the scene. The shadow Atali says she did her best, tried to do what everyone said, but none of it worked. Because if she didn't do what they said, they'd leave her. Haseo asks Sakaki why he'd do this. Sakaki says to understand people. This area is the result of Ida's analysis and understanding. The shadow says no matter how hard she tried, no one would accept her or look at her. Ida bubbles form around the real Atali. Adelie's eyes glow as Ida swarms around her. The shadow disappears. She starts floating, twitching unnervingly. Haseo demands what Sakaki did to her. He says everything Haseo couldn't. He consoled her, spoke to her gently, was always there for her. He asks Atalie who slighted her. She says everyone. Everyone decided she was worthless. But he says she's not worthless to him. He says, the ones who are truly worthless are those who do not realize your true worth. Sakaki says it's time to go. Time to go and show all those who deemed you worthless that they are the truly worthless ones, the ones not fit to exist. Atalie starts screaming Sakaki's name. He says she'll never be hurt again. Now go forth and destroy all those who have hurt you. Light surrounds Atalie. These dark things erupt from her and surround the scene, creating the familiar battlefield where we fought avatars in Ida many times. Atalie summons her avatar. Sakaki...
It's cool looking.
It is.
It's very cool looking.
Sakaki tells Atalie she's beautiful when she's overflowing with power. Now the real world is being ruled by the online world. Once they rule the online world with Ida, the real world will be as good as his. He will eventually control people's very hearts. Then he will create a new world where no one fights or is oppressed. With the power of epitaphs and Ida, he will create new harmony between reality and online.
Yeah, this sounds stupid, but you have to remember they moved the entire government online 3 years after an online game caused like nuclear meltdown. So he's probably right. You probably can't take over the world by being good at an online game.
Like on
Absolutely.
one hand, it's funny because like they did set it up because they did say, "Hey, the whole government's online. Surely nothing bad will happen." And then also, I do believe in a previous scene, someone, probably Yata, said something like, "GU or Ida longs to move beyond just the game and into the broader internet." So they set it up, but also it still is just like, oh, we're here now? Okay.
It still sounds very funny when you say it all out.
Well, especially because he doesn't like to explain how, right? He's just like, and then it'll be easy to control the rest of the world naturally. And you're like, all right.
So Haseo tells Atalie he'll save her and summons Skaith. It's time to fight Innis. The music is amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah, it is.
The battle continues in a cutscene. Skaith and Innis are evenly matched. They find themselves locked in a stalemate. Ida bubbles appear around them. Sakaki says the nearby Ida are resonating with the avatars. It's just as he said it would be. Even though he actually just says, it's just as he said it would be. He doesn't say, it's just as he said it would be, even though it is an instance of him doing that trope. Sakaki tells Atalie to consume Haseo and his epitaph. The 8 phases, the Morgana factors, are the keys to which rule the world. This world. Giving Ida more epitaphs will allow its power to grow exponentially. The battle continues. Haseo wins. He separates Ida from Atalie, which Sakaki declares impossible. Haseo lands, back at the throne room of Moontree HQ. Sakaki is there too, but warps away. Indritz, Kun, and Nala run up and ask Haseo if he's okay. Haseo says it's over, but Sakaki got away. They see Atalie collapse nearby. Later, she stands with them. She says everything that happened was her fault. She starts to panic. Haseo steps forward and slaps her, which, to be clear, is not something you should do, but I guess it's fine when it's an MMO emote. He asks if she really thinks this is all her fault. She says it's her fault. Bordeaux and Alcade and Zelkova and Moontree. Haseo asks what she intends to do to atone if this is her fault. She doesn't know. He says it's that she doesn't want to know. He says, "You're just happily playing the part of the wounded and victimized tragic heroine. If you really mean to take responsibility, don't cry and don't ask other people what to do." That's my Yuri Lowenthal voice. Kun is like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Indrins thinks Haseo is on the right track with this. Haseo continues his pep talk? And Atalie says she's not strong like him. Zelkova steps up and says she's not alone. Zelkova is okay. He says Haseo and his friends will walk this path with Atali. Zelkova then tells Nala he's happy to see him well. Or should he say, GU leader Yatta?
What?
Gosh darn it. So Yatta's voice now comes from Nala. He snuck an alt into Moontree. Haseo is baffled by an MMO player having multiple characters.
Who's got the time for that?
This is why Nala sold out Hiragi and threw his match. Kaede runs up. Zelkova says it looks like everyone who was PK'd at Moontree is coming back due to the destruction of the Ida server, Matsu and Hiragi included. Yatta says he'll investigate Sakaki and email us later. The end.
The end.
Hell yeah.
So, I thought of this after you were already on a roll, but when Sakaki was like, what? This is impossible. How is he this deep into Ida and epitaphs and all this shit and has never heard of data drain? Like, that's like first grade SpongeBob. That was literally the first thing when we awakened our thing. They're like, yeah, so data drain is really scary. It's the thing that Tri-Edge used, but we use it for good. But Sakaki wasn't there that day of orientation or whatever, and he learned how to overthrow the government via an MMO, but didn't learn about goddamn data drain.
I just wonder what InfoSec is like in this game with the whole guild thing with alts. Is it like when someone new joins the guild, are they like, do you promise you don't have any alts? Especially in rival clans. And they're like, I do not. And they're like, all right, cool. We'll tell you, well, come right over here and we'll tell you all of our deepest, darkest secrets.
So I bet that Hiragi and Matsu now being slighted and know that Nala was doing interguild politics. I wonder how many tickets they opened with their local GM to complain, because that happens a lot.
Oh no.
What, people complain about players just like being jerks and saying like, that's illegal, I should get you banned.
Yeah, it happens all the time, especially with guild politics. Like it shouldn't matter. I could not imagine having a guild on a game that I cared about so much that I would make some barely minimum wage person read over chat logs to weigh in on. But yet, that was about half of the tickets I took at Blizzard.
That's so dumb. Also, I will say, Haseo's quote unquote, as Bernard said, pep talk. I feel like it started off like Haseo's being a big ol' asshole, and or these writers have watched too much anime and don't know how people work and think that this is actually a good pep talk. But by the end of it, I was like, he's doing a pretty good job. He's doing all right.
Here's what I
think it's kind of effective, actually.
I think the idea behind what he was saying was, I don't know if I want to say correct, but I think it was, worthy of being said. It was like, you think to say that, I think it's okay for you to go through saying that. He just did a very bad job with it, I feel. I feel like he could have...
Yeah, he could have finessed it a little better.
Not say she's happily playing the role of the victimized, traumatized heroine. That's kind of a jerk way of putting it.
Yeah, but by the end of it, I think he was just like, look, you can suck ass, but stop feeling like so much shit for sucking ass. It's okay to suck ass. Just, deal. And it's like, yeah, that makes sense. Or it's like, hey, stop feeling like shit because you feel like shit. Just feel like shit. It's okay.
Yeah. Just feel like shit for fun.
You can feel like shit, just don't also feel shit because you feel like shit. And then she gave her little pep talk, or did she not do that yet?
I don't know what you're talking about. So.
Sorry, you're right. We started. Yeah, I played farther because I played before you said that we weren't going to play farther. Never mind. She gives kind of an anime speech about how she's going to believe in herself, at the beginning of next week, playing off of what Haseo had told her, and it worked. It turns out it worked.
Yeah, good on Haseo.
But yeah, it's sometimes on one hand, you want to validate people's feelings, and on one hand, you want to show people sympathy and empathy, and you want to be there for them and like give them the space they need to like deal, especially when they have like trauma stuff. On the other hand, you know what? Sometimes if you have the right relationship where this sort of thing is appropriate and warranted and you're not just some jerk, you know, and like you've built up a level of trust and understanding, it's like sometimes you do gotta tell people to just fucking like get the fuck over themselves a little bit. You know what I mean? Just a little bit sometimes.
And if there's one thing I know, it's that Adelie and Haseo have the right relationship and only do things which are appropriate.
Yeah. Well, Adelie thinks they do, at least. Adelie thinks that Haseo is a great guy and cares about her, so when he says this, it works.
So let us listen to that Innis fight music.
Oh my
god.
God.
Then we will talk about our memorable moments.
That music is so good.
All right. I am pulling mine up right now, so somebody else can go first.
Maddie, are you ready?
I have one that isn't really a moment so much as a joke I thought of while Bernard was talking. but the thing is, okay, so like you get the Ovan, like that really was quite funny. And like Bernard said, one of the characters says that it's an ironic title for an item. And like I agree, like it is weird. It's like Ovan is kind of an ironic title. Like, why do they call it Ovan? When you ove on the cold food about not eating
Shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry.
Shut the fuck up.
Let's see. What else? Here we go. Yeah, this is the part that actually would be a spoiler. I didn't realize that when I screenshotted it. When that one guy, the old guy, y'all said his name, but I already forgot it, talks to you.
Nala?
In Moontree. I love how he's just like, surely you jest. I am just an average, everyday player. I have no special powers such as yourselves. And I'm like, he said, believably, he said, like a normal person. She didn't like remotely, like, not remotely believable. Let's see. Oh yeah, also when you're at the victory party, I went around and talked to the NPCs, even though I don't think you have to. And
you do.
Oh, you do.
Okay. That it doesn't let you leave unless you talk to all of them. And there was one that I just somehow kept walking past and not seeing, and I was like stuck there. It was annoying.
So Syllabus and Gaspard are hanging, and Syllabus is like, he's like, great job, Haseo. No, I think he says, I can't believe you won the Demon and the Heaven Palace tournament. Are you going to take aim at the Sage Palace Emperor's Throne next? And I'm like, does the math. There's 3 games in this series. God fucking damn it. fuck you, you motherfucker asshole. And once again, just like with this Palace tournament, they have never mentioned that there are 3 tournaments. They're just like pulling out of their ass like, oh yeah, there's 3 tournaments, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know how this tournament system works. I don't know if they're sequential or like, all I know is that the tournament exists as soon as the plot needs it to. So, I may have one that is a video. So I will be looking through my PS4 stuff while y'all share yours.
Okay. So, I found mine. When you get the 12 messages and it's every single named character congratulating you, the one you get from Indrance is really long. And he goes, Cinder, Indrance, subject, heartbeats. I suppose I should say congratulations. I'm not really sure. There's a party, isn't there? I'll be sure to go see you in your hour of glory. It's strange. I thought crowning ceremonies were a foolish waste of time when I became emperor, but when I think of you as the star of the ceremony, my heart beats so fast, my chest starts to hurt. I wish I could convey this beating to you, Haseo. It's fucking weird, and I like it. Indrance is a lot.
Just get
He
laid
is.
already. Fight literally anybody.
The other one that I screenshot was the line Bernard mentioned, but it's Sakaki saying, my rule will spread quickly across the world, eventually allowing me to control people's very hearts. And I'm like, sure, okay.
You know, just the beats of it, like the way he said it, the intonations and everything, sort of reminded me of Dr. Camilton from Dinosaurs in Pakistan.
I get that, yeah.
A reference that everyone will get because everyone's played that video game, which is definitely available for purchase.
Yes. I've got another one. Who's the guy with the sort of the worst tattoos you've ever seen and the red hair who ends up fighting you?
Matsu,
yeah, that's the one. When he's giving his speech that Bernard abbreviated earlier, he's basically saying, like, yeah, I know that he sucks, but that Sakaki sucks, but whatever, right? I'm still going to defend him. Like, what else am I supposed to do? And he goes, look, I really am sorry. You see, I'm quite a moron. And then he goes,
So
and then he
good.
says, I thought about all the other things I could do about this terrible situation, but in the end, this is all I could come up with. And like, that's a fucking mood. Like, I
It's
thought
like
a lot
the-
about
it's
it,
like
and
the
this is
himbo-
all I got. Sorry, I'm dumb.
it's the himbo version of the climax of Speed Racer 2007.
Yes, I thought about this a lot, and this is all I could come up with. I just want to make sure y'all are using the correct terminology. I think y'all are using incorrect terminology here, and I want y'all to make sure that y'all aren't that y'all are being politically correct here. You see, so there's the himbo, which is the male version of the bimbo, but then there's the girl version of the himbo, which is called the fimbo, and then
Of
you
course.
have the boy version of the fimbo, which is the bimbo. So I do
Oh
believe
my
he's
God.
a bimbo, the boy version of himbo, or the boy version of fimbo.
Anyway, I really liked the filmmaking in the scene with all the school desks. The filmmaking was just
It's so
very
good.
striking. And
Yeah, it was
also,
dope.
Adelie's voice acting has always been, okay. This week, it was like, oh, I'm going to show the fuck up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was dope.
it was really good.
It was really dope.
It was, her voice acting was suddenly really fucking good.
Yeah, so this week reminded me of the phenomenal last dungeon of Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory.
I was
Which,
like, is this going to be Digimon? Then he said last dungeon of, and I was like, oh, I guess it's not Digimon. And then it was Digimon.
It was Digimon, of course it was.
It's always Digimon.
So when I got there, I sent it out of context to Maddie just because it's one of the best JRPG dungeons. But like, you're going through the memories of this girl who's had a traumatic livelihood, and like the skybox is like this drawn anime of her like having memories, and each level you go down through the dungeon, they get more and more fucked up, and it's amazing. And I'm sorry, but you got to play 100 hours of anime Monster Battler to get there, but it's phenomenal. And this scene really reminded me of the same thing when all of the NPCs are Adelie's bad memories and shit like that. It was a great time. I was thrilled to see a mundane location in this video game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we all fucking lost our shit when there was a locker last time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is, and you know what's really neat is like, I hate to. Okay, Sam, you gotta be cool. Okay, I'm about to bring up Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, I almost did earlier too, so it's okay.
You know how in Kingdom Hearts 1, it's like you got some, I'm going to put it in quotes, but good shit at the beginning, and then you got a bunch of boring Disney nonsense, and then you get some good shit at the end. And Kingdom Hearts 2 was like, same thing, except the good shit at the beginning is actually really good, and the good shit at the end is like 4 times as much. This game is kind of like that too when you think about it, because if you remember, the previous game was like, it wasn't that much time between the beginning and going and starting the tournament, and then after the tournament's over, you have your ending party, and then that's when she disappears, and that's when you go to the locker area, and that's the end of the game. So this is like, this time you get a big opening chapter with the whole Ida server thing and this whole big setup. You still get the tournament, and then like, instead of the victory party leading to the literal ending cutscene of the game, the ending party leads to like basically the third act of the game, right? And it's like, it's like in Kingdom Hearts 2, where it's like, oh, you thought you were just like gonna go to like Hollow Bastion, and it's kind of like a 1-2 bammo. Oh, you fool, you child. There is so much that is going to continue happening. And that's dope. It's like, okay, we're done with the tournament. All right, time for some shit. And I feel like this shit is probably going to continue happening. Of course, I shouldn't say that. This is Pack Goo after all.
Yeah. Next game is just Haseo levels up his herbalism, and it's just 40 hours of picking flowers. But that was all that I had. Besides, so Caerleon Mave or whatever is a really beautiful area, and I really liked it.
Yes.
I actually, while I was playing it, I jotted down on a piece of paper just the words Caerleon Mave, so I could remember that it was real pretty, because it is, even though its name is dumb. But that's all I have. Does anyone have anything else?
I was wondering if I could plug my various things at the end this week.
You should.
Yeah.
So I am not always on this podcast. I'm also on my own podcast, which is mine. It's called Bernard Remembers, and it's just a low-key one-person podcast. Maddie, how about you pitch it, because you like it?
So Bernard just recaps. It's sort of like what we do here, except different, because he's recapping, I think, in more detail and more eloquently, instead of like going duh every 5 seconds. Instead of like
pitching Dairy Queen every 5 seconds.
No, but yeah, he sort of like retells. You know how sometimes whenever I'm in charge of recapping on RPG Book Club, I'll sort of have a Sam does this too, but it's not the same style as me. Get like a little like joke, like sort of like jokily literary with my descriptions. That's kind of how Bernard does it. So there's not really jokes or discussion. He just tells you what happens, and he's got a real nice voice, and he does a really good job of telling you what happened. I haven't heard him do a game I haven't played yet, although I guess I hadn't played the last bit of Xenoblade. But you know how whenever you watch a speedrun of a game you've already played, and you're like, speedruns are awesome and all, but also it's just nice to like see the game that I like, but again, and I don't have to play it. It's kind of like that. It's like, hey, you want a guy to like remind you of some stuff you like, and also it's a pleasing voice that is well written, and occasionally has a joke, and also has good music pulls. It's very soothing and nice, and I really dig it. And his FF4 series is, I think, better than the Xenoblade series, probably because it's a better game. Xenoblade is great, but he also had a lot of jokes about how video games are stupid. In FF4, you're mostly just like hollering, not literally hollering, but like metaphorically hollering about all the cool shit that happens in that game. And yeah, it's I really enjoy it. I don't listen to every episode the second it comes out, but like at some point during the week I listen to it, and I always really enjoy myself. So you should check it out. It's dope.
Thank you. Yeah. Sorry for putting you on the spot like that. That was kind of a dick move.
That's okay.
But Yeah, I did Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition for my first one. I'm doing the DS version of Final Fantasy IV for my second one, and the third one is going to be Fallout 1. And so I'm really excited about that. So if you want to revisit any of those games with me, listen to my podcast, Bernard Remembers. And also, I am streaming on Fridays. I have Falcom Fridays, and I'm streaming East Origin. And then that's at 9 p.m. Central. And then on Sundays, I have GameCube Sundays, which isn't an alliteration or a pun or anything. It's just I play GameCube on Sunday.
Very disappointing.
And I played that at 2 p.m. Right now I'm playing Pokemon Coliseum, which, in case you hadn't heard, is awesome.
Yeah, you should definitely tune into Bernard's stream because Bernard's cool, but also Pokemon Coliseum is so fucking good.
The graphics.
I should play that game.
You should.
It's fantastic. It's got great graphics, lovely music, battle system's cool as hell, plot's neat, aesthetics neat. It's oh yeah, and also all the character designs were by a person who previously drew porn, which is funny.
That's hilarious.
Like, what if we let this guy do a Pokemon? Which is dope. But yeah, no, Bernard is good at streaming, and Bernard picked these times to stream with a lot of forethought. And then I had to immediately go and fuck it up and tell him that I wouldn't be able to watch his next 2 streams because of special reasons. So y'all gotta watch his stream so he has a good time.
Yes. So that's all I wanted to plug. Maybe I'll ask if I can give a very abbreviated, and you can find me, the guest, here at this and this on others. But yeah, I just wanted to say, hey, I do stuff.
Yeah. Bernard is great. His Twitter is also great. So you should follow him at Twitter.
Bernard might be the most one of the most underappreciated Twitterers on Twitter.
I am at Barnyard House on Twitter. Barnyard House, like the two structures.
Like, some of Bernard's tweets are really, really good. And they never do the numbers that I think they deserve to. So
they never do numbers.
Unlike my tweets, which are all complete garbage and do numbers sometimes for no reason. Once again, just like CyberConnect, Bernard, you got to start putting less effort into these you got to start doing worse. Like, just don't make things that are good. There's not a market for it.
So, speaking about this game real quick before we finish up. So it just occurred to me that this game started with, oh no, we're stuck in the game. And I wonder if while they were writing it, they were like, oh, let's be stuck in the game the whole time. And then they wrote the whole plot. And then they're like, oh wait, no, we already hyped up Crimson Verses, so we have to get back to the thing. So they unwrote it. And that's why there's all of these things that are like the real emotions and real stuff, because the people were supposed to be in the game the whole time.
Well, the problem is that, like, it would make a perfect sense as an escalation to be like, oh my god, things got serious in the game now. But, like, as I said with in the last episode of the first game, like, in my opinion, one of the things I really love about this, that I actually really, really do enjoy about these games, is just the basic flow of going from game to email to forums, you know? Actually, we haven't checked the forums for info for a plot relevant reason a single time this game, which leads to further proof. We have?
Yes, we have.
Oh, okay. Well, I forgot.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of really cool online Jack stuff. This week especially was really good.
I meant, like, to find out where to go.
Yes, we checked the forums to find out where to find Pyrrhus III, which, to be fair, does not strictly fall under the category of plot relevant, which is what you said.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was also something else this week too.
Okay. But
I don't remember what it was.
But at any rate, yeah, it's like they're just like, oh wait, this is just one of those medias where like we can't break that status quo because then you're not playing .hack, right? Which is a shame because it would be dope.
Yeah. But yeah, tune in next week where we will finish this game. And then the week after that, we will talk about the forums and the news and Online Jack and all that cool stuff. And then we'll take a couple weeks off, and then we will play games 3 and 4 back to back.
Yeah, I requested to take a bit of time off, just because my life got a lot going on, and I would rather have to do one podcast a week for a little bit. Also, fun fact: after, not before, after I asked y'all if that was chill, and y'all said it was chill. My friend, who I had previously let borrow my PS4 and had played half of Death Stranding, was like, "Hey, can I borrow your PS4 again to finish Death Stranding?" And I was like, what a coincidence. I just found out that I'm not going to need it for a few weeks after I finish .hack GU Volume 2. So yes, you may. So it all works out. Perfect.
I may take the time off in between the two to do that other thing that I was been trying to do since like March. So I might do that.
Something you've been trying to do since March? Do you mean go outside?
Do you mean a hug?
Not early March. I mean literally March 30th. But there was a big event that happened that made 2020 into what it is today. It happened at the tail end of March that made me inspired to do a thing. And so I might finally do that.
That's awesome. Well, yeah. Sam, if you do a thing, there's one rule about doing a thing, which is you have to announce it by tweeting. So I did a thing, and then you drop it.
No, see, I know that I'm in a JRPG, so I can't announce that I'm going to do a thing before I do it, because that means that I'm going to get abducted by the final boss the moment I say, oh, I can't wait to do this thing at some undisclosed time in the future.
As we've discussed, never say you're going to do something in the future. It's bad news.
You can't do that. But yeah, if you like what you heard, subscribe to Bernard Remembers and watch Bernard on Twitch and watch Maddie on Twitch and tune into our regular episodes in this podcast feed and hit us up online at www.rpgbook.club for links to all of our socials, including our Ko-Fi, which is ko-fi.com/rpgbookclub, which is where you can donate monetarily to unlock more bonus seasons like this one. The one that's up for donations right now is the season on Last of Us Volume 1, which I'm super excited for. That game has been sitting on PlayStation 4 since the day I bought it, and I have not done a thing with it. So excited to finally play that game. So hit us up there. Otherwise, this has been an episode of LongCast, and I have been Sam Allman.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
I am David Bernard Houck.
Log out, BRB, etc. Online lingo.
Good joke, Sam. Good one.
Bye.
And this is every time I log into the game.
Bye.
Speaking of which, it's about to get balls cold here. So we're about to have like a thrifting extravaganza by the end of the month, because last month it was snowing by October 20th. So I have 12 days to get snow gear, which is exciting.
Oh,
So
fun.
we're gonna go thrifting like a motherfucker and find us all a good coat and some long johns and shit.
I have a ton of clothing that is too small for me to various degrees. And now I'm on a big weight loss program that seems to be working out for me really well. So I'm
Nice.
going to get to go shopping in my own closet.
Hell yeah. I love that. That worked for me in the opposite, because when I was a scrawny little 150-pound boy when I was getting married, I found this kick-ass Patamon t-shirt at Hot Topic, but the only one they had was in 2X. And I was like, geez, this is so big, but like I have to buy a Digimon shirt. I have to be on brand. The brand police are watching. I have to buy this. So I bought it. And then I got fat, and now it fits me, and I like it.
Nice.
You bought it aspirationally.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? I'm getting married soon. I want to be fat and happy.
The aspiration of what you just said, really, it's not like I can't wait to be fat. It's like one day I'm going to be in a happy monogamous relationship, so it's going to be okay if I get fat. Or society will evolve enough such that there's people stop being such jerks about people being fat anymore, and then I'll be able to wear this shirt.